Hi guys, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball is the app that has all the information on Newcastle United and so in the 23's, what a season, it has to be said. 2 finals, but just missed out on both of them. Lee, what a season it has been by Ben Dawson. He came in, no one really knew anything about him, but magnificent for an under-23 manager to get some good praise for once, because we hadn't really done well for a long time.
Very negative in the summer, wasn't it? We had this Peter Beardsley, what was happening, what was not, and then we had an influx of players leave. There was over 20 of them leave, and then we've seen Ben Dawson. It was like, is he a coach? Is he not? Are they bringing somebody in? But my God, what a season that he has. What? Yeah,
that was it.
Barnsley lad, down your neck of the woods.
I want to add the fact it's my missus who's from down there. Just for the record.
But I think to end the season, finishing what was it, 3rd, losing the playoff final, which will be gutting for the lads.
And the Premier Cup as well.
And the Premier League Cup as well.
The Checkatrade where they got played.
Getting to the last 16 of the Checkatrade where they played Sunderland's first team.
It was the quarterfinal, wasn't it? Oh yeah, last 16.
Last 16, yeah. Unbelievable, and there's some standout players, which I'm sure you'll touch upon, which is Elias Sorensen. Cal Roberts has had a good one as well. You're talking, there's loads.
Longstaff as well.
Both the Longstaff brothers as well. Sean's obviously now first team. Nice to see him. Martin, good to see a couple of lads make the bench in the final game this season. So it's been, and it's nice to actually talk about a successful season. And obviously I know there's plans in the future, which I'm sure you'll touch upon. But it's a great season. It's nice to see the lads do well.
It is, and Kyle, let's touch about the players that have probably made a massive difference, and in particular Sorensen. Forget about obviously the horror of the Blackpool loan move, but he was on fire from the start of the season to Christmas, even just before obviously we played Sunderland in the Checkatrade Cup. Do you feel that his goals has put a lot of League One clubs, Championship clubs on the radar for a young striker on loan?
Yeah, of course it has. I mean, he scored like 20 plus goals in under 23 level. He's been absolutely fantastic. I mean,
He's up for Player of the Year.
He is up for Player of the Year. I mean, he's been so clinical in front of goal. The fact that he didn't get a chance in the first team, I would like to have seen him at Ewood Park, but he was sorting out his move to Blackpool when that was going through.
It's on the national duty as well.
In Mexico, and he scored for Denmark twice.
Yeah, so there is a good player there, and I'd like to see him get a couple of chances in pre-season, if not one of the earlier stages of a competition that we're in. So even that Shanghai tour, I'd give him a chance to shine, because there's obviously a player there,
A little bit of silverware for the lads, a little bit of a reward for all of the hard work and effort that they put in. They must be really gutted how the season's just ended, but they should be really proud of themselves. It's all about development, it's all about working the way up to Rafa's first team. So a lot to be pleased about. But
in the group stage, beating some League 2 teams, in particular Grimsby Town, that I can think off the top of my head. Doncaster League 1, very good opposition, League 1. And a very good opposition.
You say League 1 with a straight face, Johnny.
League One. No, but we took on a team that finished in the playoffs in League 1 in Sunderland, and we gave them a good first half. And yes, they ran out 4-0 winners, but to go toe to toe even in the first half, matching them and having 1 or 2 half decent chances, is that just testament to the players, really?
Certainly. I mean, to play the biggest game of the season against your opponents' first team, and you are the reserve team yourself. Brilliant achievement, and I think Elias Sorensen especially, all the more reason to get Hostelou out the door as soon as possible. Bring Sorensen in. I think so many fans were calling for it.
Got to be looked at
the season.
Who?
Yeah, give him the chance that he deserves, because he's just almost too good for the under-23s, as he's proved this season.
You want that route from the 23s up to the first team clear. You don't want Deadwood, like Josselou, sort of like muddying the waters and stuff like that. You want a clear route so that Sorensen knows how he's going to get into that first team, and he needs to be able to start cup games, and then gradually you keep building them up. Like you said, that he's a cracking player in there.
It's not just Elias Sorensen either. Yannick Torre, I've been keeping an eye on him ever since there's been all the complications with Denmark, and then going to Blackpool on loan. He's been brilliant. He's picked up the mantle quite well. Yannick Torre scoring quite a few goals. I think he got 10 plus goals between the time Sorensen going to Blackpool and the end of the season, so he's another one to look at. So the future.
He's a full, not just an under 23, he's a full international for his country. And he hasn't kicked a game for his club.
League Two, does Rafa need to bring more of the under 23s or give more of the under 23s a chance, especially in pre-season? It's good, like you say, even Dan Barley's, who hasn't been involved in the 23s, he's been in Accrington this season. Do you think that these players need to be given an opportunity to see if they can break through, or they need to go out and loan or play under 23 football?
At least looked at a pre-season. That's all you ask for.
In particular,
why not take half a dozen? So Adam Wilson was absolutely electric on the left. I know he's raw, but there's a young lad. Kellen Watts, obviously England international. Mo Sangari's been trained last season with the first team. Owen Bailey's captain down there.
I think Owen Bailey's been a bit underappreciated. I think he's
playing two roles. So there's a few, and I think it's nice to get them mixing in with the first team. I know Rafa brings them in for training and stuff when they're on international, the rest of the lads. But it's a big summer ahead. I know you want them lads to come in, but you talk about all these changes. I mean, why the fuck are they changing Ben Dawson and moving him out? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. They've done so well, but they want to move him to this new technical role and look after all the youth development. Then the under 18s are shocking. They are absolutely shocking. You post the results out, and I mean they're getting beat 7-0 every week, man. I mean,
I've said though that the club, it does need a restructure. I've said on the radio show I would like us to implement like an Ajax system where you've got technical directors, so somebody who is looking after youth development, somebody who's looking after finances, somebody's looking after recruitment and all that sort of thing. I understand why maybe they're moving him into that role, and you want that sort of. I want personally people with Geordie DNA in those roles.
If somebody leaves, so
it's like head's gone. So like people like Shola.
I think Shola will come in, mate, and I think whether he gets the loan, I think the loan manager is a good thing, because we've seen it with the Carl Roberts, we've seen it with Sorensen. Barely getting a kick for their clubs, and I think this loan manager going out to visit them independently, watching them, reporting back to Ben Dawson / Rafa is a good thing. And whether that's Shola or another man, but I agree, get more yes, Mike Ashley, forget about that for one side, but get more Geordies in who have been part of the club, and I think it's a good thing. And every club does it, bar us.
Look at Longstaff, he's a player that's probably he's going to get linked with maybe a £50 million move. If Rafa can get another player, a young player, through the door and give him an opportunity, you can say to Mike, actually, yeah, there's another player that you can get good money for as well if you want to do that. But let's just talk about the future. What has got to be the aim for the under 23s moving forward, Kyle?
I think it's development mainly, but if they're going to look at it from a league standpoint, is go one step further and get promoted, because they lost the playoff final, lost the Premier Cup final. So probably just keep the development up, try and get into the first team, because I'll say it, no problem at all. I think in saying we've got the best crop of players for our development squad in quite some time, and I'd like to see a lot of these players feature on the first team next season. Like, I think, as Lee touched on before, I think a lot of them need to have a good chance in pre-season. I'd love to see half a dozen of them be selected to go out to Asia, but
we need a plan. That plan,
yeah, of course,
has to be put in, because when Pedro was there before, I think it was just coach, manage them, do what you can. I'm taking away, I'm not going to comment on all the other stuff, but just there was no sort of like, well, we need to do this to get Longstaff from reserve team to first team, we need to do this with Sorensen to get him from reserves to first team. That loan manager's going to be really able to say, look, I think a League One club, I think this club, because of the way it plays, will be really, really good for you. And we need to be really picky and choosy with the likes of Sorensen, because these could save us. If Sorensen makes the grade, he could save you £20-30 million on a striker. And then you can use that £20 or £30 million elsewhere where you're maybe a bit weak. It's really key that we get this right. I was a bit surprised that they're moving Ben around because he's done such a good job, but the technical director role is the way everybody's going. But we need more, like you say, more Geordie DNA and more careful planning to nurture these lads through to the first team.
A loan manager should be good for that, because a loan move for players has proved to be a good thing in the past. Look at Baldassar last season, Adam Armstrong, even when he was a Newcastle player, when he went to Coventry and scored 20 goals in that season. Like, that built his stock up a little bit. Like, a loan move does work for these players, and I think this should be implemented more.
Could generate money for us as well. If you think about even if they don't make the grade at Newcastle, if we can sell these players on and get millions of pounds, from different moves and stuff. Look at some of the other players who are still playing in the Football League, your Ramagers and stuff like that. But as an example, he's gone on for money and stuff like that. if we can't get them in the first team, we need to be making sure that we're getting some sort of money or something back off them that we can then reinvest into the youth and reinvest into Newcastle football.
So definitely.
We're not just like
Healthy run of the wheel like it is at Ajax.
Definitely. Let's get a Geordie DNA. Congratulations to Ben Dawson and his side for a fantastic season. Get your comments in below. Who do you think was the player of the season for the under-23s? Was it Sorensen, Carl Roberts, Torre, Bailey? You know, get your comments in below, and what do you want to see from Ben Dawson as the technical director, and who would you like to see as the lone manager, I suppose you have to say, lone manager at Newcastle next season? Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you at the next video.